Welcome back to the Augustana Observer Podcast. I am your host, Chris Ray, and I am joined here today by Vuong Nguyen, or in other words, Jay, as I'd like to say. Jay, how you doing today?
I'm feeling so good. Thank you for inviting me to
I'm hoping I didn't butcher that name too much.
It's fine. No problem at all.
We're here today. We're going to chat about a few different topics. Just going to have a little conversation. Jay comes from Vietnam. We are both seniors here at Augie, and we've had conversations in the past about different cultures and the way that food kind of brings people together. Coming from Vietnam, different food styles, and myself, I have never had Vietnamese food, and it kind of stirred up the pot a little bit, no pun intended, when we were talking about food. So, getting us started off, I've never had a true Vietnamese dish. So, Jay, what would you recommend that if I was a first timer going to try out a Vietnamese dish, what would you recommend, for a first timer?
Well, it has to depend, because Vietnamese food it's not just the food, it's the culture. We have, maybe some of you have already know, or you have already know that we have the north, the middle, I'm going to say the middle and the south. So the food from each region represent for their culture in that particular area. So if you want something like salty and using a lot of fish, the fish sauce, then I would say the north. But you want something like sweet and sour, and then like just like I don't know how to say it, but if you prefer something more sweet, then I'm gonna say the middle and the south.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on your taste, but for each area, it's very difficult to get the original taste in a Vietnamese food in America.
And I think, what you're saying about getting that real, almost as authentic as you can, like the taste. The problem is with Americans, it's not really a problem, but it's just something that naturally happens, is that Americans Americanize the food.
You need to think about the business. This is not just about Americanized anymore. It's about the business.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you open a Vietnamese restaurant for, say, in America,
mm-hmm.
you have to think about your customer. Do they really gonna enjoy the taste, or they want something in the middle, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The second thing I want to talk about is the ingredients. It's like almost impossible to get the exact ingredients in America, just like in Vietnam.
And you were mentioning like the different, areas within Vietnam that, you get like the more salty side versus the sour or sweet or whatever, whichever. And I kind of think about, again, just, eating American food, primarily through my life, just like Americans add salt to a lot of things. Like that's a huge... Is that something that in Vietnam you see, like in the salty side? Like, do they just overindulge on the salt kind of a thing?
So this is where it's come a pretty tricky part.
Yeah.
So like I have been trying to cooking the Vietnamese food using American ingredients.
Yeah.
Like so you have like outside in Hy-Vee they have like a Himalaya salt and the pink salt.
Okay.
So the thing that I haven't figured out is that they're both calling themselves salt, but they're not tasting the same.
Huh.
So the salt in Vietnam, it's salty, but it's also when you put it into the soup, into your food, it's not just salty anymore. It's salty but also sweet, and the other tastes come with it.
That's interesting. So the salt is amplifying the taste.
Yeah.
Which is what I think it's supposed to do.
According to an article on thespruceeats.com, one of the salt's primary purposes is a flavor enhancer. Salt acts in multiple ways to enhance the flavor of food. Not only does it create a salty flavor element, one of the most desired tastes by humans, but salt can also affect other flavors such as sweet and bitter. In small amounts, the salt will intensify sweetness, so it is sometimes sprinkled on fresh fruit or added to candies like caramel. Salt will also help release certain molecules in the food, bringing out some of the ingredients' flavors and making the food more aromatic.
I mean, you got the point there, but again, for the salt in America, it's just salty. You
But
just
I think
taste the
it's-
salty part.
So you're just saying that that's interesting because the way I interpret it is that salt, like its primary purpose is to like bring out the taste in
Mhm.
whatever you're cooking, right?
Mhm.
But what people usually do is they just add way too much salt and the salt just overpowers and you just like salt.
Well, it depends on what is their taste.
Yeah.
Do they just want to taste salt, or they
Mhm.
want something else? Do they want sweet and sour? It comes with a bunch of ingredients. It's not
Mhm.
just putting salt. That's not. I mean, sometimes that's the answer to the problem, but sometimes it doesn't.
So you were saying there's different the different things you can get in Vietnam, like the different like spices, the salts.
Yeah.
So what are you besides the salt? Like what else do you?
Besides the salt, I think in the north, we pretty popular with fish sauce.
Okay.
So
what's
the
that?
fish sauce is like you catch the fish and you put it in like a bucket or like a barrel, and then you put in there for like, I'm gonna say about a month, maybe more, and then the sauce come out from the fish.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. So what's the fish sauce? What dishes would you use with that fish sauce?
To be honest, pretty much everything.
So, have you ever had tartar sauce?
What's that?
You don't know what tartar sauce is?
What's that?
So tartar sauce, I grew up using tartar sauce.
Huh.
I'm like, that's a dip that you use for like say like fish sticks, which is like fried, like I don't know what kind of fish it is. Fish fingers or fish sticks are a processed food made using a white fish, such as cod, hake, haddock, or pollock, which has been battered or breaded. They are commonly available in the frozen food section of supermarkets. They can be baked in an oven, grilled, shallow fried, or deep fried. I feel like a common thing for Americans to do is to fry everything, right?
Yeah.
So like fried, like fish sticks, you dip it in tartar sauce. And I don't really know what is in tartar sauce. Tartar sauce is a condiment made of mayonnaise, chopped pickles, capers, and herbs such as tarragon and dill. Tartar sauce can also be enhanced with the addition of other varieties of herbs, lemon juice, or olives.
In Vietnam, we mainly boil.
Okay.
We boil everything.
Yeah.
Because when we're cooking, you actually losing some of the protein in it. So by boiling it, we have the chicken and the soup with it. So so ideally is that we can able to keep all the protein by eating the chicken and the soup from the chicken. Well, it's a culture because if you take a look at the history, Vietnam used to be a very poor country. In the past, your family has to be very rich so you can have like a gas to cooking. Yeah, that's the problem.
I see.
Yeah, the thing that we do not really cooking too much, like frying thing too much because it consume a huge amount of gas and
Got it.
So
See, I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even like put those two things together.
I mean, yeah, but that is in the past. Right
Mhm.
now we have a lot of it. A part of me thinking that we are creating new dish just by fry it up. Let's be honest, it's much easier to eat when we fry things up.
Sure. I mean, the new cooking device like the air fryer.
Yeah.
I think was I talking to you about the
Yeah.
other day?
Yeah, that one is.
It's such an easy,
Yeah.
way to prepare your food, especially for a college student. You go to the store, you buy your. I mean, if you're super lazy like myself, you go to the store, you buy your frozen potatoes, frozen, whatever. You throw it in the air fryer, it's cooked within.
See, that's the
5
reason
minutes.
why Vietnamese people we also like increasing the attention in frying food because we just do not have time. You know how long it takes for you to prepare and to cook the traditional food? It takes you a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What dishes were you eating as you were growing up? Like when you were a kid, what were like? Just give me like a few dishes that I've never really eaten Vietnamese food. So, and I'll give you a few dishes that I can remember.
If every member is in my family at home and then we're gonna have a nice proper meal, we will still go with the boiled chicken because to be honest, boiled chicken is very familiar to Vietnamese.
I think I've had boiled chicken before. I've had to have had it.
Yeah, but boiling chicken is an art. It's a process. You need to cook it so the meat will still keeping the juice inside the meat. So it would not be too dry.
So would you say you've had fried chicken before, right?
I have a lot though.
Which do you prefer, boiled chicken or fried chicken? Or like, what's your favorite type of chicken? I'll just rephrase it. You got boiled, you got grilled, you got fried, you got.
I mean, well, it's hard because like now, I mean like if I stay in Vietnam for too long and I have boiled chicken frequently, then I will not like it anymore. But my taste is slowly moved to the chicken that is made by the fryer. Yeah, it was so good.
Like chicken nuggets and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was so good.
I get chicken, like the frozen chicken nuggets. I throw those things in the air
Yeah.
fryer. It's such easy.
I know, right? You just put in there and then set a timer of like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then voila.
Or breaded chicken too. That's another one. Like I'm Italian, so Italian dishes like chicken parmesan. I don't know if you've ever had that.
I think I have that.
Chicken parmesan. You get the breaded chicken. You get the spaghetti, the pasta sauce, some mozzarella cheese on the top. And that's like, chicken parmesan is like one of those Italian dishes that's like, it's a pretty commonly liked one because pasta's pretty universal, I feel like. Pasta for me, I feel like, because we were talking about rice, and I'm not really a rice person. I feel like growing up, like my pasta was your rice.
Well, you actually have a good point, you got there, right? So rice, we can make a lot of things like noodles. But yeah, totally. I mean, I can tell the similarities.
Because the rice is like, it's the side, rice is a starch, right? It's like the side dish that goes along with the whatever comes.
Yes. So normally you have a bowl of cooked fries, and then every dishes will be on the table, like the boiling chicken, boiling vegetable, and everything with it.
I'm curious, how do restaurants work in
Vietnam?
Yeah, Vietnam.
It depends on what kind of restaurant you're going to. So for example, let's say you're going to a grill restaurant, right? And then nowadays the Vietnamese restaurant, they're gonna offer you the same thing. They say, hey, when you order from the menu, you order, right? After you're done, they're always gonna serve you the salad first. The vegetable and the salad go first, and then come with the meat. They always do it in that procedures.
I feel like that's common. I don't know other cultures as well, but I mean, Italians usually it's the salad first and then the pasta and then whatever dessert you got.
Same thing. You have the salad, the vegetable, and then the main dish, and then whatever, and then the dessert.
I think I've talked to you about vegetables and how I'm still not really a vegetable person. My parents definitely had their struggles of trying to get me to eat vegetables as a kid. It wasn't like vegetables weren't around. They definitely did their justice trying to make me eat vegetables.
They tried their best.
Right. And I have vivid memories of sitting at the table and
just looking at
the vegetables. And they say you can't get up till you eat those vegetables. Even to this day, like there's certain things I can eat now. Like I used to not like salad. I can eat salad now, no problem. Not if the lettuce is too leafy though. Okay.
It's fresh.
It's fresh.
It's fresh.
A little bit too fresh for me.
We like fresh thing. Here's the thing, that you don't like vegetable because of it tastes, right? It has no taste. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It had no taste.
What
Vegetable.
Food? Vegetables?
Yeah.
I think it has a taste, but more so nowadays, it's like the texture for me. So if I have, let me think about like a texture food. This isn't a vegetable. We've talked about mashed potatoes.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes is my least favorite food. Still is. And a lot of people are controversial to that statement, especially just like it being a potato and the things you can do with potato. Like I'll eat,
French fries, tater tots, hash browns, whatever other potato there is, like a double baked, I'll eat that. But mashed potatoes are out.
They're still potatoes, It's even easy for you to eat mashed potato.
It's easy,
you barely have to chew it.
But that's the texture thing. It's like I'm putting it. It's like, I usually say warm ice cream. That's the texture that I'm getting.
Warm ice cream.
Which a lot of people, it doesn't make sense when I say it, but like in my head, it's just what I think about.
No, but I mean, you got a point there. I mean, the mashed potato, they're just like ice cream, but it's warm, but it's hot. Everyone has their different taste. Yeah. We cannot expect them to like the same thing or taste the same thing like I did.
Mm-hmm. It's like you growing up, you ate vegetables and you liked them, right? No?
Every time I eat vegetable, only one thing appears in my mind. They're good for you.
Okay.
So I keep eating and eating it.
So I guess for you, the good for you outweigh the taste.
Yeah, it's good for you.
For me, the taste outweighed the good for you parts. I didn't care if it was good for me. I wasn't eating that.
Sometimes I have to eat something because it's good for me. It's not because of taste.
You know what, Jay? That's the mature thing to do.
But one thing is that the idea of boiling vegetable is to avoid the greasy from the oil.
Mm-hmm.
So when we boil things up, we are looking for something non-greasy at all. We're looking for something that is pure.
Which is, and then you look again, like boiling things generally takes longer than frying. Which is why longer. When you go to like fast food restaurants, they're not boiling anything because that takes way too much and that's not fast. That's why everything's fried, and it's worse for you because it's got grease upon grease in it, but...
Well, the things that when you fry something once, you can do it again. But when you boil something up, you cannot boil it again because everything will fall apart. The meat will be dry. It will be very dry. When you try to do the same thing, it will not taste the same. We are talking about the difference in the culture, in the food in America and in Vietnam. It can be totally different. I mean, the food and the cooking culture, which is also gonna involve in a family meals. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for us, family meal is very important. It's not just the eating part. It's the entire process of getting the groceries, to have time to talk, and while you're cooking it, you have time to talk to the others, and then when you're eating it, you also have time to talk.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think going back to my first point, even just introducing the topic, I said like how food brings people together.
There you go.
Food is always present. It's like when you're making plans, it's always, what are we gonna do for dinner? Dinner is almost the core of like it's such an easy thing that people are always like, what are we gonna eat kind of thing. For families, for the families that are able to do that, sit down and get the food, prepare the food, sit down, all around the same table. That's something that people value and cherish those times that you're able to come together, right?
Even though how busy you are, I think that you are still able to spend time with your family. Let's be honest, like if you're gonna spend like an hour or 2 hours, let's say, cooking in here and say, hey Jay, can you come here and help me? And then suddenly your parents and you have a conversations. Like say, hey Jay, can you bring this over there to me? And then when I bring it over there, and then when I come back, and then my mom always asks, so how was the school today? You see, cooking is like a way for parents to see the kid after a long day, and then start asking in a most friendly environment that you can have. Like a child will be scary if you do like this. Hey Jay, can you come here? I need to talk to you. That'd be scariest. That'd be scary.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like standing in the kitchen and then they say, hey Jay, can you bring it back there? And then when I come back and my mom asks, so how was the day today? And I was like, oh, it's good. I see this. I meet this friend. I learn about this. See, it's very natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural conversation.
Yeah.
For me, those conversations that were meaningful with, say, my parents, I first off, like my dad, like it was usually, he grew up, yard work was something that he valued, was something that my grandpa, passed down to him and passed down to me. So those meaningful conversations and the time spent even now with my dad is usually in the yard. So if we have yard work to do, he'll usually ask me, can you help me do this? And then, it turns into a conversation. It's like while you're doing yard work. So it's another thing that, it's another like family, like chore. Parents really do, value those times. And
Yeah.
Children should too.
In the past, I used to admire Americans because the amount of time the parents spend for their kid. Like when I watch on the movies, and then a kid just go, hey, hi dad, my bicycle is broken. Can you help me fix it? And then the dad and the son gonna spend the whole afternoon, a whole Saturday afternoon, fixing the bike together.
Like your understanding of that from as a kid watching those movies,
Yeah.
it's like a lot to do. It's the movie and the movie producers are responsible for that, like placing that image into someone like yourself's mind that Americans, like the family structure is like that, when maybe it's not always like that. Like,
I mean, that's why I was saying that in the past.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
I have witnessed a lot of things. But yeah, okay, let's go back to the tasting, the culture and the food. I mean, we have been talking about family and then cooking and then culture and then how the parent is separate from the kid in nowadays, right? We pretty much go to the hot topic nowadays because we have phones. I'm just gonna say this is like an evolution, and then every evolution has its own consequences. I mean, with phone we can access to more information. We know what is going on, but the cost is human interaction.
3 dishes that you remember. You said the boiled chicken already. So for me, 3 dishes, like iconic dishes that I can remember. I mean, I've mentioned pasta, so I'll just say mac and cheese. Probably that was like a big one. Mac and cheese. So when I was a kid, my favorite food, it's kind of cringe, but it was hot dogs.
I like that one too.
But that was just my favorite food. But it's pretty cringe because hot dogs are usually like deemed as, a lot of people think they're fast food, like gross kind of thing. Because like if you think about what hot dog is, you know what a hot dog is, like the meat.
I think so. I hope so.
It's like the intestines of a pig. Did I just ruin hot dogs for you?
Bro,
That's what it is.
we boil intestine of the pig so we
Okay,
can
well,
eat it.
well, when I think about, I don't try and think about when I'm like the intestines of the intestines of a pig. That's what a hot dog is. But I'm just saying, like, if someone were to say like my favorite food's a hot dog, like I don't know, that's kind of like a child food.
It's a yummy food.
It's a yummy food,
It's
but it's
yummy.
more of like a. You don't hear adults say like my favorite food's hot dogs. I guess maybe, but it's. I don't know. Okay, back to my point. Mac and cheese, hot dogs, and
What else?
something that I ate a lot when I was a kid.
Definitely not smashed potato.
Definitely not mashed potatoes, even though I was forced to eat it. I don't remember the last time I had mashed potatoes because I just don't eat it.
How about chicken nugget?
I was gonna just say fried food in general. Like fried food was always just like, I remember, I was able to go to my grandma's house a lot when I was a kid, and she would make fried food a lot.
Like it's just fried food after fried food. I'd go home with a stomach ache because I ate too much.
Yeah.
And I'll just generalize it. I'll just go mac and cheese, which is more under the pasta dish, hot dogs, and then I'll go fried food, just all over. Those are my 3 dishes.
Yeah, but then for me, I mean, the first one definitely gonna be bar chicken, and then spring roll, not like we make in Augustana College.
Okay.
It's a totally different.
They're the ones in the dining hall, right?
In Augie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
I haven't been in the dining hall in a couple of years, so I don't know.
Yeah, spring roll, and you know like the bacon.
Bacon, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not bacon, but the meat is like the bacon part. It's like you have a fat, you have the meat, and the fat and the meat. So we cook the same material. No, not the materials. The same kind of meat like bacon. Then we cook it. It's a very difficult process to make it good.
You were talking about the dining hall, which I think is a good conversation. Maybe we can end on that.
Let's go.
So what are your thoughts on the dining hall? They have spring rolls. So is that their attempt at Vietnamese food, or is it something? Just share your thoughts on.
So, I have been here for 4 years, and then right now, this morning I still eat at the dining halls because I work there. So I think I'm able to give you like a slight comparison between the old one and the new one, because they are totally different. Did a little bit of upgrade, I can say that. I mean,
You're speaking about the Vietnamese food, or are you speaking in the whole?
The whole.
Okay.
I really now I'm going to talk about the Vietnamese.
Okay.
I mean, it's not Vietnamese food because we're not making it. I'm gonna say Asian food in general. So yeah, and then I really admire their attempt to increase the taste and increase the taste of the food at Global Fusion.
So you would say generally it's a good attempt by them,
it's a good attempt,
and that they've gotten better with this new updated version.
Yeah, I think so. Because I taste it. It is much better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're a senior, and then you're outside, and you have to pay for everything. Like, like I actually like the food at CSL too. Right. Any other questions you have for me today?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap things up.
Okie
That was today's episode of the Augustana Observer podcast. I've been talking with Jay, or his formal name is Vuong Nguyen.
Okay, that's good.
And thank you very much for chatting up with me today. We had a nice conversation. I appreciate it for the time. And that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.